Our next example asks, how much money do we need to invest today at 6% simple interest if we want to have $2,400 in 4 years? Well, first of all, I notice it's simple interest, so I know I'm going to use a simple interest formula. And the question is, how much do we need to invest today in order to have $2,400 in 4 years? If we're talking about finding what we're trying to invest today, we're trying to find P. We know our annual interest rate is 0.06. We know our time is 4 years. And we want to have $2,400 at the end of 4 years. What we're going to have at the end of 4 years, that's our future value. This right here is A. So we know A, we know T, we know R, we're trying to find P. So I'm going to use the simple interest formula that relates the future value A to the original investment, the principal P. So we have A equals P times 1 plus RT. 2,400 equals P times 1 plus 0.06 times 4. And I'm going to type what's inside the parentheses in my calculator. So I'll have 1 plus 0.06 times 4, which is 1.24. So we'll have 2,400 equals P times 1.24. And then we'll divide both sides by the 1.24 to get P alone. So 2,400 divided by 1.24. And if you look at this answer, we're talking money. Money goes to 2 decimal places. Now I need to make a comment here. Anytime you're trying to figure out what you need to invest today in order to have a certain amount of money in the future, our textbook in Course Compass always says you should round up. You know, you're going to round to 2 decimal places because it's money, but they say you should round up to make sure that at the end of 4 years you do have the $2,400. And I'm going to do that round up and give my answer, and then I'm going to show you my answer with the round up if I check it versus not rounding up and checking it. The bottom line is, in your homework, if there are no directions and you're trying to find out what you need to invest today, always round up. If the directions on the homework say round to the nearest cent, use your regular rule of rounding. Sometimes the homework might even say in some problems to round to the nearest dollar. Use your regular rule of rounding. Okay. Well, let's see. If I round up to play it safe and make sure I'll have the $2,400 in 4 years, then P will be $1,935.49. I know the mathematical rule of rounding would tell you 48 cents, but I'm going to round up to 49 cents to make sure at the end of my investment I do have the $2,400. A quick little check. If I take my answer and put it in the formula for P, and take $1,935.49 and multiply by 1, in parentheses, 1 plus 0.06 times 4, I want to make sure I have my $2,400. So let's see. $1,935.49 times parentheses 1 plus 0.06 times 4. I have $2,400, and if you use the mathematical rule of rounding, 1 cent. If the bank just chops it off, it's $2,400 even. Now, if on my answer over here I had $1,935.48, would I have $2,400 at the end of 4 years? Let's see. If I use the mathematical rule of rounding, if the bank does, yes, I'd have $2,400. If the bank truncates or just chops it off, I would have $2,399.99. Bottom line, when you're asked how much do you need to invest today on your homework, if the directions don't give you any guidance to rounding, always when you round to the nearest cent, round up. If the directions in the computer say round to the nearest cent, follow those directions. If they say round to the nearest dollar, follow those directions. Let's do another example. You plan to spend the summer in Australia in 4 years. You wish to buy a certificate of deposit, or a CD, for $20,000 that you're going to eventually cash for your trip. What annual simple interest rate must you get on this CD if you need $30,000 for your Australian summer? Okay, key words, we're talking simple interest. So I'm going to use a simple interest formula. We're going to go buy a CD today for $20,000, and 4 years from now we're going to cash it, and we want to have $30,000 for our Australian summer. So let's see. Our time is 4 years. We're buying the CD today for $20,000, so what we're investing today, that's P. And at the end of 4 years, when we get ready to go on our vacation, the amount we want to have is $30,000. That's our future value, or A. Well, the question's asking for the interest rate, so we're trying to find R. So we need the simple interest formula that relates A and P. That's the future value formula. So we'll have 30,000 equals 20,000 times the quantity 1 plus R times 4. That's a time symbol right there. Now in algebra class you never said R4 or R times 4. You said 4R. So I'm going to rewrite it that way. Now we want to solve for R, which is trapped inside the parentheses, and again from algebra class we're going to use the distributive property. We're going to take 20,000 times both terms inside the parentheses to get rid of parentheses. So we'll have 30,000 equals 20,000 plus 20,000 times 4R is 80,000R. Now we want to get the R term alone, so we'll subtract 20,000 from both sides. We'll have 10,000 equals 80,000R. And then to solve for R, divide both sides by 80,000. So 10,000 divided by 80,000 gives us 0.125. Now this is the annual interest rate that we need to earn, so we need to convert that to a percent. So if we do the decimal slide, we'll get 12.5%. So in order for us to invest $20,000 today into a CD and leave it there for 4 years and end up with $30,000 when we cash it out to go to Australia, we've got to find a CD that pays 12.5% interest.